Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. LlamaIndex, Context-Augmented LLM Applications, Episode 12 of 14. When an autonomous agent makes a mistake, digging through standard Python print statements to find the issue is a complete nightmare. You ask a simple question, get a hallucinated answer, and the standard stack trace tells you absolutely nothing about why the model lied. To fix this, you need a way to see inside the black box. This episode covers observability and tracing. Traditional debugging tools fall short with large language models. A stack trace tells you where code crashed, but LLM bugs are usually logical. The code runs perfectly, but the system retrieves the wrong document or misinterprets a prompt. Standard Python logging is your first line of defense. By setting the logging level to debug, LlamaIndex outputs a raw feed of everything it does. You will see the exact prompt sent to the language model and the raw HTTP responses. This is useful for checking if a network call failed, but for a multi-step agent workflow, reading a wall of unstructured text is incredibly tedious. Here is the key insight. You do not just need a log of events, you need to see the call graph. You need a structured view of how data flows from the initial query down through the retrievers into the language model and back out. LlamaIndex handles this using a callback system. Callbacks are hooks that trigger at specific points in the execution cycle. The framework provides a built-in tool called the LlamaDebug handler. You initialize this handler and attach it to your global settings. From that point on, it silently records every operation. Say you run a query engine and it returns a completely fabricated fact. Without tracing, you have no idea if the model hallucinated or if your database fed it bad information. With the debug handler attached, you can ask it to print the trace after the query finishes. The trace reveals the exact sequence of events. You see the initial query, you see the retrieval. Crucially, you see the exact text nodes the retriever pulled from your index. You inspect those nodes in the trace and discover that an outdated document was retrieved. The language model did not hallucinate, it just read bad data. You fix the index and the bug is resolved. Terminal traces are great for local development, but they do not scale well when you have complex agents making dozens of reasoning steps. For production, LlamaIndex offers what it calls one-click observability. By setting a specific environment variable or adding a single configuration line, you can route all that callback data to a dedicated observability platform. These platforms ingest the trace data and generate visual dashboards. You can click through a visual tree of your agent workflow, inspecting the exact latency, token usage, and payload for every single step. You don't need to instrument every function manually. The framework's native callbacks handle the heavy lifting. The difference between a fragile prototype and a reliable production application is whether you can explain exactly why the system generated a specific response. If you found this useful and want to help support the show, you can search for Dev Stories EU on Patreon. That's all for this one. Thanks for listening and keep building.